are listening to Waves in the Ocean, a conscious living podcast. Like the ocean, we are all part of the collective consciousness, each expressing an individual wave. In this podcast, we give you the tools to live with intention, reconnect with your true essence, and create more abundance in every aspect of your life. We are your hosts, Lauren
and Lauren,
best friends, yogis, magical beings, and ascension guides. Our intention is to share our authentic truth and bring on others living a conscious life to create a ripple effect in this world. Let's go on an amazing journey together. Today, we are going to talk about plant medicine and how these amazing plant teachers have really helped us on our spiritual journey.
Yes, and that's the best definition of them: teachers, support systems. It's a beautiful tool that can be used in a positive way or in an afflicted, negative way at the same time. But they truly have so much knowledge and connection and we like to always say, rip the Band-Aid right off. You know, if you want to go into your shit and you're ready for it, go hit up a mushroom ceremony, go down to ayahuasca in Peru, work with the shamans, and it will put you on a jump start.
Yeah, I can honestly say that neither of us would be where we are today on our path this quickly without doing these sort of medicines. I mean, maybe we would, but
we don't know. We don't know for sure.
We don't know, but this is our path and this is where we are.
We're just huge proponents to it.
Yes. Back in 2020 is when our spiritual awakening really happened. It had been a little more of a gradual thing from yoga training, but 2020 when we were locked down, like I said, Lauren got me some crystals and then I was hooked and things just started to shift. You start to see all the signs and I started reading Gabrielle Bernstein and did every reading there was and was just like a kid in a candy store.
Yeah.
For life and these new awakenings. And I was like, oh my God, before I did this, I thought my purpose was just to get married and have kids.
That was never what I thought, but
I did. I remember when I moved to San Diego and I got a full-time job, I was 26. I was okay, now this probably just means that I have to find a relationship and get married because that's what people do. And going down this path, I was oh my God, life is so amazing. There is so much to learn and my path is not going to be what I thought. And it can be hard too. Sometimes there's these things called dark nights of the soul, which occur when you have to really face your ego and the life you thought you would have and all your attachments to really let go, to just let your soul be what it is here to be. And the plants have been a huge, huge aspect of that for me. And I would say Lauren as well. But so spiritual readings, all the things. Lauren had been pushing ayahuasca on me for a while. And I was what is that? I'm pretty sure you mentioned it in 2020, but everything was shut down, so we couldn't go.
Yeah, I was looking at it from 2019. I think when I was in India, it came into my consciousness and I was just kept looking at it. And I was I'm going. And I wouldn't go. And then I'm going. I was I'm going by myself no matter what, if no one else wants to go with me. And then the whole world shut me down. Anyways, when I wanted to go, it was never the right timing. So it worked out well because no one else was ready to go with me at that point. But by the time we all went together, it was time for everybody to go.
Yes. So I remember really having no idea what it was. I was what is that? And then she told me and I was oh no, I don't think I can do that. I don't want to puke in a bucket. And what if I crap my pants? That would be horrifying. And I refused to watch any documentaries on it because I was if I'm going to go, I just don't even want to know. I don't want to see other people and their experiences. But finally convinced me, signed up. And before we went on that retreat, I had never done any plant medicine before. And I was going into the mother of all plant medicines. And I was we need to go and try something before. So ended up seeing a random Facebook post from our friend Sean Graves, who we went to high school with. Hadn't seen him in over 10 years. Last time I'd seen him, he was sleeping on my couch after a night of partying in Boston.
Yeah.
I was like, I've not seen Sean in 10 years, but I'm going to go on this retreat. He was hosting plant medicine retreats with mushrooms and a few other different plant teachers. And he had gotten on this path like a couple of years before us through ayahuasca and all the things. So I was like, this would just be perfect for me to get my feet wet, to understand a little bit more, to connect deeper with myself. And that was back in 2021, I think.
I don't actually remember.
You're not very good with time. So that was in the summer, it'll be about like 2 years. Lauren, Kelsey, and I went on this plant medicine retreat, weekend getaway, and it was amazing.
It was awesome. It was a good time.
So tell a little about your experience with like the retreats or mushrooms on their own. Let's dive into that part a little bit.
So there's 2 different ways to use mushrooms. There's one in ceremony and there's one for fun. I've been using mushrooms for fun for a while, never in ceremony. It is so tangibly different, the experience. So yeah, I've been to the concerts or the raves and all of these fun things, taking mushroom chocolates or eating mushrooms with my friends and just having a freaking great time. Then, or maybe you're in high school and you took too many and you had a bad trip and you like locked yourself in a closet or all of those things. And that's what a lot of people really associate with psilocybin still these days. It's getting more mainstream, more microdosing, more used for therapy. So it's coming to the forefront and the light's being shed on it now. But a lot of people have those experiences, of that one time in high school or that one time in college, and I don't ever want to do it again. But the difference between doing it socially and for fun and not really having an intention behind it and doing it for a soul evolution purpose is tangibly different for that healing aspect of it all. What the plants do, all of these types of plants, ayahuasca, plant medicine, Hape, things of that nature, they are here to show you what's holding you back, show you your fears if you're ready to see them, right? You can have really fun, lighthearted experiences. And maybe that's the teacher showing you this is what you need in your life. Or it can be heavy and hard and really uncomfortable and your biggest fears come up. And that's also showing you what you need, that which is holding you back in every other aspect of your life. So when you really sit with the medicine with intention and in a healing space with people with a common decision or common intention to grow, it opens up so many doors energetically. It opens up so many doors spiritually, and the plants just open up your neural pathways as well. You can have higher elevated consciousness, altered states of consciousness experiences, and really tune into your purpose. We've seen people shift completely after these experiences, myself included. So in the beginning, I was just having a freaking blast with plant medicine. I wasn't calling it plant medicine. I was calling it shrooms, maybe a little acid. Yeah, give me some ecstasy. Those things are plant medicines. Mixing things together and having a grand old time, giving people willy wets in concerts, like in raves across California or something like that. And it was awesome. But the first time I actually sat in a ceremony space, it brought a whole different awareness to what it actually is. And the beautiful thing about these medicines is they're truly divine. And like an ayahuasca, it's a vine and a leaf. And when ayahuasca came about, those two plants were found 5,000 miles away from each other. 5,000 or 2,000. I'm either flipping it or whatever.
They're quite a distance apart.
They're quite a distance apart. And someone got the message, got the download, the interdimensional beings connected with them, whatever it might be, told them to bring these two species of plants together, brew it, and then drink it if you want to connect to higher states. It's not like some random person put things together. It was very intentional. And the wisdom came from not the human being consciousness, for sure. It came from a higher elevated interdimensional being, a higher energy, whatever it may have been, as a means to connect with ourselves and to connect with source energy. So when you step into all of this meaning behind it, it allows you to heal and grow.
Mm-hmm. There's just so many benefits. And I think it would be helpful if we break them down in sections. So, because each of these plants is a teacher and their spirit lives through that. And when you ingest them, you get to have that experience of letting that spirit live through you. And it works its magic in any way that you set your intentions. And we don't always get what we ask for. We get what we need. And sometimes that could be the opposite of your intention because it's showing you what's blocking you from receiving that.
Exactly.
So just to break it down, psychopsilin mushrooms was the first that we started with. It is becoming much more mainstream and you will hear about it likely more and more often. Some states it's even legal now. And there's a ton of evidence that it helps with anxiety, depression, people coming off these really, really serious antidepressants, medications that they've been on for way too long. And there's a ton of research that it helps with those things. So for me, I had never done any kind of plant medicine prior to my healing journey. Alcohol, weed strongly affected me and I was living in fear. And I was like, I take some of these things, like, I don't know what is going to happen to me, especially mixing it all. So out of my fear, I never tried when I was younger, but allowing these plants to come into my life has really, really opened me up. So Lauren was having more of these fun effects.
Yes.
The psychopsilin and the mushrooms, they hit me a little bit differently. And every time is different. But for me, it's been this super deep journey inward of connecting and knowing that I've done this so many times before. I remember the first night I was like, just feeling this deep sense of inner knowing that my soul has been here so many times. And it's brought me to just a deeper knowing of who I am and has shown me exactly what is blocking me from achieving all those things. Even though it can be hard, it also brings on some of the most amazing emotions when you work through them. The thing is with the mushrooms or any plant medicine, you can resist them.
Yes.
And when you resist and push is where we don't get to the beauty of things, where I'm one to fight to the death. I'm like, I don't want to feel this is uncomfortable. I don't want to do it. But once I do, when I allow myself to go into it and fully feel the emotions, that's when the best feelings of my life have ever come on. Of just this like expansive, pure, heart opening love energy that honestly I've never felt before. And it's shown me that working through all the hard stuff is that the state that we are all meant to be at. That's what we're working towards. And to feel what that feeling feels like, it reminds me each and every day that all this hard stuff, all the things you got to work through, it's so worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why we also really like to do these plant medicine retreats and share that with people, because it just heightens your awareness so much more than you would on your own. And beyond that, a huge trend now, because it's really helpful, is microdosing. So with that, it's taking much smaller doses, whereas a standard dose to have more of an effect with the mushrooms would be about like 2 to 3 grams. A microdose is anywhere from 0.1 to like 0.25 milligrams that you would take. The standard is, most followed protocol is 1 every 3 days for about a month or so, or you could do it as long as you choose. I just don't like to feel like I need to rely on anything, but I've really gotten into it over the past year and it's brought so much awareness into my life. So that I am really thankful for. And it just sort of, so if you don't want to completely go on these big psychedelic adventures, the microdosing I find is a much subtler way to do that, but also gives you just as many benefits of connecting deeper with yourself, being able to work through emotions, becoming more aware of your thoughts, connecting with nature and life around you. I know a lot of people use it on their runs or working out or coming off different medications. So questions on that, let me know. You want to find trusted sources for all these plants as well.
Yeah.
I would not just take them from anybody.
No.
People that you trust and Yes. So anything to add to that?
No, they're super beneficial. And whether you are microdosing or doing I'm one to just be a big, heavy, like once a year ceremony. Either way, it will open neural pathways. Either way, it will shift your perception on life, on everyday life, on who you are as a person. And it will either give you a hard hand or a gentle softness to it. For me, it's always heaviness in the beginning, and it's my biggest fears coming up. Like the last time, it was my biggest fear of being a sound wave, and with that being unrelatable to people, because who else is relating? And everyone's like, oh, I'm afraid of heights. I'm like, I'm scared of being a sound wave or maybe even a galaxy. Like that's really intense for me. And it intertwines this awareness of why. So it helps you figure out why you are the way you are.
It does. The last retreat we went on, Laura and I are supposed to be running it, but it's just, you got to go with it, right? Because it transforms the people. Mm-hmm. Both of our like super uncomfortable fears coming up.
Yeah.
And she looks at me, she's like, I'm a sound wave. And I was running this retreat and having more of this like Kundalini energy running through me of just this divine feminine, like sexual energy that wants to be expressed. And I was looking at Lauren and I was like, oh my God, we're supposed to be running this. And this is where we're going. And it led us to this state of just pure laughter.
Yeah.
And we laughed so hard that shifted everything. And it turned out to be like one of the best feelings ever.
Yes.
Working through the discomfort and bringing in the laughter and allowing yourself to share what you're going through with other people and letting them help you is where you start to really transform and shift. Like you are the driver here. And when we allow ourselves to sit in our shit too long, the mushrooms and any plant medicine will hide in that. You got to feel it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then it's, okay, what can I do to get up and move, shift the energy? And then that's what we're meant to do as humans. These plants just really bring on the awareness of it.
Exactly. And they're just huge teaching tools. So whether you've tried it before or you haven't ever done it with a group and you're a person who likes to like take mushrooms and stay in your room, it's really helpful to be in a healing community space because then there's energy healing, there's breath, there's sound, crystal bowls, all of these things to heighten the awareness. And you go into these places to figure out why you are the way you are, to be like, what is holding me back in my life? Why am I stuck in this XYZ the third? To get the expanded awareness, or maybe even there was one time I was straight up like just seeing stuff like sacred geometry on the walls. I swear to God, to this day, I saw like a Thanksgiving dinner in the middle of the woods. Still don't understand. Yeah. That was like an intense experience. But it was funny because in these spaces before ayahuasca, it was always very lighthearted for me. And it was like, sometimes I'd be like, no, I'm going to say most of the time it would just be very lighthearted and I'd be cracking up laughing the whole time. And that's the medicine being like, okay, you need more of this in your life. You need to be less serious. You need to do less doing. You need to do more of what you love. And then after ayahuasca, and this is my own doing as well, we are creating every situation that we're in. It's us doing it. And as I dove more into shadow work, deeper, the experiences reflected that as well and was bringing all the energies of the fears of not wanting to be a sound wave, of not wanting to be a galaxy, and then being like, I'm so fucking unrelatable because no one else has the fear of not wanting to be a sound wave. Like it doesn't even make sense. Like the next day when everyone was talking about their experience and I shared that, people just stared at me and they're like, what? I'm like, I know.
I stood up for you.
You did.
I was like, fear is a true emotion. And if you feel fear around that, then it's real. Because I think one day we're all expanding our consciousness enough to become sound waves.
Exactly. I was like, I'm not ready. So that's my fear. It's like, I'm not ready.
You are ready for whatever it is on your path.
Exactly.
Lauren's one to always push me. And nothing really seems to bring up fear in her or she just handles it really well and goes right into it.
Yeah.
And she's really helped me with that. And still a work in progress.
Got it.
I don't sit in my shit too long, but sometimes a little longer than she does.
Yeah. I refuse to. I'm like, all right, this is good, done. And it's just bringing this trust back into the universe.
To trust. But yes, so ayahuasca, I would say for both of us, from our first plant medicine ceremony with doing the mushrooms in New England, then a couple months later, we went to ayahuasca.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where everything really shifted. If you want a really fast track and it's calling to you, ayahuasca, the thing is, there's nothing you have to do. And these medicines will call to you when it's your time. So it's just trusting in that. If it keeps coming up or you're hearing about it or you're curious or you hear something in your heart, like a soft whisper of like, hey, or maybe it's really loud. Hey, we're calling to you. Like,
yeah,
come work with us. We want to help you. But fast track to Peru, a couple months later, that's when reality really shifted.
For Lauren.
For me, yes. And since then, every time I've done any sort of plant medicine, mushrooms, things like that, it's been much more intense for me. I don't need as much. I drop into things. It's just, it's my path though, and I know it's what I need, and I'm thankful for it. But so, like Lauren was saying, ayahuasca is South America.
Yes.
A vine and a leaf from different plants. And we journeyed down to Peru because after a lot of research, you want to go to shamans that you really trust.
Yes.
That have been working with the medicine for a while. And Arcana in Peru, amazing.
Amazing. Fantastic. Would recommend it to anyone.
Mm-hmm.
And I've done both. I've done shamans in Peru. I've done Americans in the United States. Nothing wrong with Americans in the United States, but I'll get to that.
Yeah. How was your ayahuasca experience, La? What would you say to people?
It's the best and hardest thing you'll ever do in your life, but it's amazing. You know, it's a beautiful thing. There's moments where I wanted to die, and there's moments that it was absolute bliss and connecting with interdimensional beings. When I was in Peru, I like physically the energy was coming on my hands, and I healed during it, I was doing energy healing on myself, and I healed my body because I wasn't getting my period for like 90 days. I got off birth control maybe the year before. My period has never been, I wasn't even existent for like 3 years. It's just like since I was younger, never normal. And in an ayahuasca ceremony, I healed that aspect of myself. And literally that night I got my period, and it's been fine ever since. Like, I'm not even kidding, mind blowing things like that. And then deep sense of forgiveness, trauma from my grandparents, trauma from growing up, forgiveness to my grandfather, who I was trying to forgive for years. I finally found forgiveness for him. Processed through so much trauma with my family, with situations, and this like embodiment of unconditional love and purpose for all of them. And it was so beautiful. And then I also had a straight up, like, I thought it was me dying. And then I did ayahuasca again a month later, and I was like, holy shit, now I'm really dying. But I felt like I was dying at one point. It was so uncomfortable. And I was closed my eyes, and it was like all interdimensional beings. I was in a like different dimension, 1000%. And I was like in this energy, and it was wrapped up of me and was being sucked out. And then after that all processed and cleared through, again, just an explosion of unconditional love and happiness and knowing of who I am. So much can happen, and it's exactly what you need.
It's always exactly what you need. You go into the retreat and they ask you, so you're in this retreat center, it's completely blocked off and protected, and you're not allowed to leave. And they ask you the first day you get there is, okay, you're going to meet one by one and show me your intentions. Mm-hmm. I've been thinking about this for months before. I came in with this list that was so big and basically wrapped it down to show me my highest self.
Yeah.
Right. That's my intention. I go in like all excited, nervous. I was shown that, but not in a very kind way.
Yeah.
It was not what I expected. So Laura and I, our experiences are usually very intense. I think this is what our soul is signed up for.
Yeah.
So know that what we experience may not be what you experience.
Yes.
I've talked to multiple people who have done ayahuasca. I know someone who's done it over 100 times. And she is always super kind to a lot of people. You get exactly what you need.
Yeah.
People have created businesses and gotten these drop-ins and ideas, completely healed addictions in a night. And for me, I've had best and hardest week of my life there. And it truly showed me from opening up to these interdimensional stars and beings of putting in the consciousness of the new earth in my head. And the weirdest thing was I said that to Lauren, and you had that same experience the same night. And there was like 16 people in that room and nobody else had that experience. I was just watching them put all these codes into my brain, and it was so cool and peaceful.
Yeah.
But prior to that, I was resisting it, and I had never felt so sick. I felt like there was a crane on my head that was about to like tear me apart, and you weren't supposed to lay down yet because you take the medicine. You're supposed to sit out for at least half hour, an hour. And I was like, fuck this. I am laying down because I thought like I literally was in so much pain. I lay down and I instantly purged and felt this sense of pure lightness and joy come over me. And then all the beings started working on my brain, and it was like the best thing ever. Then my heart exploded into pure love. So that was probably my favorite experience of it. And then I got taken on my last night to some really, really dark places of different past life experiences. And it showed me how hard and all the things my soul has been through to get here. And it brought on this really big sense of gratitude and love for all the things that I take for granted. I had to live through lives of being a slave and being in the Holocaust and dying as a helicopter pilot. And I kept trying to deny it. And I kept saying, love always wins. Love always wins. And it didn't help. And that's when I knew you need to go in and actually feel the feelings. And since then, it's just really opened my awareness. Have been working through a lot of those things. And the path has just gotten deeper and deeper. And super thankful for it, because I think ayahuasca just really shows you these things that it makes you feel. It makes you feel all the emotions. Or I don't think I've ever would have or maybe I would have gone to those past lives and had that experience to actually see and feel all of those things. So super grateful. Not to scare you guys, but it was an amazing, life-changing week. We also they had a few other plant medicines there as well that we got the lovely privilege of working with. The other main one being Bufo, I would say.
Yep. Cacao Bufo, kind of used interchangeably.
Yes.
So it's DMT, but like the real DMT, not the synthetic.
Yes, we had 3 nights of ayahuasca, 1 Bufo experience, and a San Pedro.
Yep, and San Pedro is a heart opening medicine. And that's just like super opening, super emotional, super loving, very, very soft, very, very gentle. Bufo, everybody has different experiences with. I had a really hard experience with Bufo. I still don't understand it. I really don't. I feel like I was just being brought to like creation. It was black. There was like lightning strikes. It was like a sound like wah! I thought I died. I thought I defecated myself when I got off. Like, I shit my pants. I don't know. I might have. Like, I truly don't know. I was coughing the whole time. So
I witnessed it from afar, from the corner.
I will definitely try Bufo again when I'm ready. I'm not ready for it quite yet. Maybe I won't. We'll see. You never know. But people have beautiful experiences where I think I was holding on a little bit too tightly, and people have experiences where if you like truly surrender and just like break through, you meet God and you just feel that unconditional love in your heart, which I've had a similar experience with that, like through breath work as well, with not even having plant medicine. But Bufo,
that's a whole nother topic.
It is a whole other topic.
Which breathwork's also been so transformative for both of us. That has brought us 2 places that are similar to plant medicine.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a talk for another day.
Exactly. But Bufo is extremely helpful as well. I think I was a little scared going in. So I'm not a smoker. And you literally have this freaking beaker. It's like Breaking Bad.
That was your biggest fear of the whole week, I think.
It was inhaling the smoke. I was like, how am I going to do it? Like, I cough. And
you were practicing.
I was practicing for a while. And like a champ, I inhaled all the smoke, but then I just hacked up for a solid, I don't know.
How'd you hack up?
I was like,
how? You just passed right out.
Dude, in the middle. I talked to Kelsey because our best friend Kelsey was across from me and she just like was watching me the whole time. She's like, nope, I've just been watching you straight up shake and convulse. But I'm a big shaker as well. It's how energy through. So this stuff sounds like horrible. And you're like, why would you ever do that? It's like awesome.
It's so worth it.
It's amazing.
There's so short time frame for the benefits that you get after and the layers that you're able to shed. I don't even know how many years of therapy it is. Dude, there. Like hundreds, thousands of years. Thousands of years. That's
like people literally go to ayahuasca. Now, I'm not saying it's a cure-all, right? You can't say that, but there are stories, you can research them and read them. People going to ayahuasca, shooting up heroin the day before and never touching it again after experiencing one ceremony.
Mm-hmm.
It's huge for addicts. It's huge for people with a lot of trauma to process it all through. And then it can bring you these enlightenment experiences, these altered states of consciousness, Bufo, ayahuasca, all of them.
So if you are going through a really hard time and you've tried multiple different things, nothing is working, and you're listening to this, this might be a sign that this could be something that's helpful for you.
If it's been on your mind, it's calling you. Ayahuasca doesn't call everybody. Plant medicine doesn't call everybody.
It's not for everybody.
It's not for everybody. If you're being drawn to it, if you're like, oh, that's interesting. Oh, it keeps popping up in your consciousness. If you're like researching it, it's calling to you.
It's alive. It's a spirit. And the spirit works through the plants, which wants to work through you to help you with whatever it is that your soul truly needs. Not what you want, but exactly what you need. So it's an amazing thing. But with the Bufo, mine was not as bad as yours. Mine was hard. However, I felt so good at the end. My body has never felt so light. What they do is they have you wait outside. So me and Steven, Lauren's partner, went in first.
Yeah, and I was the last one, Kelsey and me, to watch
you had to go. It was like the most, like the prior to that, I don't think I'd ever been so nervous. I think I ran to the bathroom 100 times.
Yeah.
I was just, you sit outside and you wait, and sometimes you hear screams, sometimes you never know, but it's an option. It was an optional part of the trip. And I took the smoke down like a champ. I think I was a smoker in a past life.
Yeah.
But yeah, for me, I landed super peacefully and I went into this place of just everything was purple and sparkly and I was floating in the clouds and my body had felt so light and it was so peaceful. And then out of nowhere, it went black, dark, and I started freaking out. I was like, I woke up and I remember Coleman.
Yeah.
This guy Coleman, we just loved him. I looked up at him and I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, this is so hard. I thought I was going to throw up. I felt like I was going into this dark, dark dungeon of a place that I couldn't escape. And he looked at me and he was just like, I suggest you lay back down. So I laid down and I just started crying and crying and crying and I couldn't stop. And it was me just crying for how hard I've been on myself and all these lives, this life and whatever other lives I have lived. And it took me to this place of realizing, like, this is a life that I get all the amazing things and I'm so grateful. And my body felt so light and it just felt so good to cry. Crying is a big purge for me. You can cry. Purging happens in all different ways. If you're shaking, you're sweating, crying, vomiting, all the
visions,
things.
Anything.
Yes. It was an amazing part. And then Lauren and Kelsey walked up after that. Lauren's partner was not having the greatest time in the Bufo ceremony.
Struggling.
It's still talked about to this day.
Sometimes we'll be, I don't know if I've already said this on there, but sometimes they'll be like, we'll be walking in the woods and you'll be like, oh my God, I smell Bufo, and like almost have like gag reflexes. And he's like, I can't, don't take me back. I'm like,
yes.
But again, it's a teacher. Every emotion that comes up, every experience, even mine of like black and like, I'm like I said, anyone's got any advice of what my experience is about, I'll take the insight, because it's the medicine showing you what you need to release, what's still locked in your body, what's getting in your way, what's blocking you. It's showing you.
I'm pretty sure you asked for ego death.
Oh, I did ask that.
You did?
I thought about that. I went in and I was like, this is my intention going in. It was like, give it to me. Ego death, everything. Yeah, you're right. Never mind. I take back my lack of understanding right now.
Your intentions. But
yeah, I'm a big go in hard. I love shadow work. I love like the deeper, the harder it is, not the bigger the reward, but like, yeah, the light, it's like the release feels so good too. I just don't like dragging everything out. I'm like, why wait? Ayahuasca is like, yeah, you can hold on to something and talk in therapy for 10 years and maybe get to scratch the surface, or you can go to a mushroom ceremony, you can go to an ayahuasca ceremony and rip open your soul and get to the nitty gritty of why you are the way you are in 2 days.
I think that's the big thing that drew us to plant medicine.
Yeah.
Is patience is something we're both working on, but it called to us for a reason, and the fast track sometimes when you're willing to do the work as well. Because you can come home and these medicines, their teachers are there to help you, but you are the one doing the work.
Exactly. Like the ayahuasca isn't going to heal anything for you. It's showing you. So it's opening you up and you're processing through stuff and like expanding your awareness. But the integration after that is the most important part of continuing to do your shadow work, of continuing to process through those experiences. I had an experience. So we went to Peru and then I did ayahuasca again in Florida. And I had it was the hardest I've used it. When I came back from Peru, I was like, that was the hardest, best thing in my life. When I went to Florida, I was like, that is the hardest thing I've ever fucking did in my life. I wanted to die. I wanted to die for 12 hours straight. Like I would be like, that would be easier. And I just got realizations about it like a month and a half ago. And I was like, oh, that was me processing through things here. Like the integration piece is so important. It's more important than the ceremony itself, in my opinion, because you can be opened up. But if you're not maintaining everything that you just opened, all the new expanded awareness that came through, you can spiral back down into a deeper hole. And you come back from these experiences super high. You're like, oh my God, this is amazing. This is beautiful, yada, yada, yada. But if you're not doing anything to maintain and continuing to work on yourself, you'll drop down rather than staying at a stable rate. And I see people do that time and time again.
Because you're opened up so quickly and like, okay, I had this experience. I saw it. It's healed. It's done. But you need to change the beliefs and do all the work behind it as well. And that takes time. And that's where the shadow work process comes in and the breath work we do. And Lauren just had that revelation like a couple months ago. And these experiences are going to work out in perfect timing. You don't know how long the integration process will be. For me, my intention was to become my highest self. I went into a hard, dark night of the soul after that retreat. And that's in my birth chart. What is in my chart of death and rebirth?
I forget.
But there's something in there that my cycle of life just really enjoys constantly going through death and rebirth. Yeah. And that is what I feel a lot. And it's just when you have to let go of all these aspects of yourself, I'm trusting that it's leading me to my highest self because I know that's what we're all here to do. And being on this path, it's anything that isn't your highest self for me has been shown to me over the past few years of having to ayahuasca really finally was the point where I was able to be like, okay, I need to trust my body. I need to stop like worrying about what I'm eating, pushing my body with exercise, and allow myself to just come to be exactly where my body wants to be without worrying about my weight or how I looked. And for having an eating disorder and going to school for nutrition, that became my complete identity. Seeing clients and feeling like they wouldn't want to see me if I had gained weight, or would somebody like me, or would they talk about me? I cared more about how I looked than the health of my body.
Mm-hmm.
And ayahuasca, for me, after that trip, was when it was my final turning point of, I'm not doing that anymore. And it was extremely challenging to do the exact opposite of what my ego was telling me all the time. Mm-hmm. And a lot of other things have come up since then as well, regarding relationships, finances, comparison to others, wanting to live in pleasure and desire versus in my head, fear of dying of all these illnesses. I have been shown every single thing of my fears, and I don't know the depths of everything. So I'm open to whatever it is that comes my way, but trusting and knowing of that feeling, of that pure love and light that's beneath it all. As much as sometimes it's hard, I would do it over and over and over again for the layers that it strips off.
Oh yeah. You don't, we'll say it every episode, you don't know how good you can feel. You truly don't.
You don't. That's why we've had these like crazy, intense experiences. But on the other side of it, every time and time again, the trust comes in because we're shown this is how you can feel.
Exactly. And it's like the same thing with the shadow work, with the breath work. I'm going to a darkness retreat in July. It's another type of thing because it's just getting deeper and deeper, shedding the layers and coming back to the light, which is you. Mm-hmm. It's like you don't have to find anything. You don't have to look anywhere. It's always there. It's just shedding your layers and realizing it.
For sure.
Rewiring the beliefs.
Yep. So if you want to do something intense like ayahuasca or Bufo, we suggest doing your research, or we're always down to talk. But I would say, look at a place for South America. That's where the shamans naturally are. They've been working with this medicine for years. The power of the ceremonies as well, where they sing the Ikros, which is their healing music. So they take the medicine and they go in with you. Mm-hmm. And they are fighting demons, or these little guys. And then they turn into these like dragons that are there singing these powerful, powerful songs that are catered to each and every person. We all have our own personal Ikros, but you can hear the room transform. One half of the room will be like puking and crying and yelling. And one Ikros, they go on to the next one, and the energy completely shifts.
Like peaceful and blissful and love, you know?
Yes, but I would say that is really the medicine as well, combined with it all.
The shamans are warriors. They, like Lauren said, become these dragon powerful people. And it's really important to know where you're going, because there are people out there who steal your energy in an ayahuasca ceremony. There are witches, and like, I know we think of witches and you're like, oh, so Halloween-y, so like legit, but there's like black magic people who will lead ceremonies and take your energy away. There's people that don't know what they're doing as much and can't hold the space in a way that you want them to hold it. So for example, when I went to Florida, it was great. A great experience. Obviously, trust, everything's exactly as it's supposed to be. But I wasn't with shamans of Peru. And not saying South America, you go to South America and go to any ayahuasca place. No, you have to research it, because you don't know if the shamans are legit shamans, if they're working with black magic, if any of these things, because energies will come to the space when you're in ayahuasca. They feel that everybody's heart's opening. They feel the energy. So lower vibrational energies want to attach to that. And the shamans are literally holding space and keeping them from entering as you are processing through all of your stuff. So you want to go somewhere that you know other people have been to and have had a positive experience, mm-hmm. or done enough research. And there's like Arcana has 5,000 reviews on Aya Advisors. You can trust that. my experience from people who weren't shamans versus were shamans, it was still a fabulous experience. It was exactly what I needed. But I truly believe if I was having the experience that I had in Florida, in Peru, it wouldn't have been the same if the shamans were there. I wouldn't have felt like I wanted to die for 12+ hours. I wouldn't have wanted to kill myself. I had an entity stuck in my throat. I had to do Kambo the next day. It was never removed. The Kambo actually dissipated it, thank God. But I feel the experience would have been dealt with quicker, with more ease, had the facilitators had it been shamans. Like a Peruvian shaman where they've been dealing with ayahuasca. It's been in their lineage for hundreds of years, and they're just these warriors of energy. That being said, I wouldn't change anything. I got so much benefit from my experience that I had in Florida, and I've learned so much. And even like I was processing through lower vibrational emotions that I just realized that I felt like when I was little, and they all had to process through and come out. But if I were to ever do ayahuasca again, it would be in Peru. And I wouldn't just be like, yeah, I'm going to go up to New Hampshire and do this. It just wouldn't happen that way.
I think I'm just going to stick with Peru.
Yeah.
Maybe like Costa Rica, Mexico, somewhere South America. We love South America. Maybe a future retreat center.
I'm sure there'll be more popping up around in the United States as well. It is illegal, so it'll be like underground stuff. But as long as you know people who have been, that have had positive experiences, you can trust that.
Mm-hmm. So explain Kambo a little bit. We've both had experiences with Kambo, and that is one that you can find practitioners in the US who do it. I did it in Sedona with a friend who did a Kambo practitioner training. He was amazing. Him and his wife also own the cacao company that we can put a link to in the show notes below. But it was it's not a psychedelic. So it's a frog plant medicine that they burn incense holes on either your arm, or I was told on the left side, it goes more into your heart. So you get these cool scars too, right? It looks like a little tattoo. I have them on my left arm, and Lauren has them on your neck, correct?
Back of my neck, yeah.
So Kambo was what you used to get rid of your entity.
Yeah, so it's a huge energetic purge. It like runs through your body, and it's something like little kids use when they're sick, right? So if you're sick, you get a little bit of Kambo. It runs through your whole system. For me, it felt like fire going down my entire body, and it was like a purge of energy. And literally, I just saw the entity like exploded, and it floated away. It's intense. It's heating. It's super uncomfortable. It's 15 minutes long. And it just clears your system very effectively and very efficiently.
It's a physical experience.
Yes. It's
you will not be sent to other dimensions. It's 15 minus 20 minutes long, where you have this practitioner who sits with you.
Yep.
And they watch you the entire time, and they guide you through it. And, I was told you'll go through this heightened experience where you will start to feel a little warm and good. And then you start to go down, you may get shaky and cold, and often people purge. It's a big purging.
It's a purging experience. Whether it's in the bathroom or throwing up.
Either one
or the other.
And I was a little bit different of a case where I did not purge at all. And Mike, the guy that I was with, said he's never seen that before. I also had a lot of trouble purging in ayahuasca as well. So after all of that, I was like, what's wrong with me?
Yeah.
Like, why can't I purge? What's wrong? And just through having this person to talk with it through, I started to realize I don't have anything to purge. There are so many parts of myself I've purged for so long, of hating all these parts of myself and trying to run it off. It's now just everything to accept, to realize everything's perfect, and to not feel like there's so many aspects of myself I have to fix. But what if I just have to accept it all? And that was a huge awakening point for me. And that was exactly what I needed from it. And it's quick, it's efficient, it's helpful. And yeah, it's safe.
It's like a a quick little cleanse, 15 minutes.
Cleanse. We're all about the cleanses.
We love cleanses.
We do.
Cleanse, body cleanse. It's like a right through.
Yes. And then other plant medicines that you could do around here, we host on our retreats. Yes, we talked a lot about the psychedelic, the mushrooms, microdosing you could do on your own.
Yep. Hape,
and cacao.
yes.
So cacao is one that we think is the most...
It's like a hot chocolate.
It's just a treat.
Yeah.
Everything about it's a treat. We host cacao ceremonies and we really have gotten into that. It's very heart opening, grounding. You set your intentions in it. It tastes good. It's chocolate in its purest form from South America as well.
Yeah. All the plant medicines I feel are rooted in, or a majority of them are rooted in South America for so many different reasons. But that's a whole nother topic. Could bring the Mayans, the Aztec, where people like
and it's
separated
so cool
from after
to go to
Atlantis.
one of those ceremonies in South America where you have these healers and shamans and the songs and the drums. And
they're fun. And it's a heart opening medicine. It's like warm. It's inviting. You're not, what's the word?
In altered states of consciousness.
Yes. Thank you.
You are present. You are here. It's a great way to be social and connect with people and share positive intentions. That's what we do in our cacao ceremonies. And every month people have gotten so much out of it and we really enjoy hosting them. It's helped us connect because we used to go out and just go to the bars, right? And it's nice to have a drink and something in your hands, but neither of us drink very much anymore at all. And we're like, where do we go? What do we do?
Yeah.
Looking for a cacao bar around here.
Right.
Which we're
going to start.
We're starting. So many things to start. But yeah, so in that, it's not your standard cacao that you would just go to the store on like Amazon and buy. You want to get a ceremonial grade.
Yes. From either cacao or it's spelled with a K. I use Aura as well. Just make sure it's ceremonial grade. It's from the tribes and it's not like abusing the energy behind cacao from this big company that just like takes advantage of paying people shit money to take their cacao and sell it for a ton in the United States. So be aware of the people's missions that you're buying from as well, and the energy behind the cacao that's coming to you.
Do your research. We'll put our favorite cacao brands in the links. We also will be experiencing this on our plant medicine retreat coming up in June. So you'll get the chance to be in a cacao ceremony. We also do Hape, which is another cleansing medicine. It is a physical experience as well, not a psychedelic. I love Hape. You talk to me all day about it. It's one of my faves. It's one of my faves. I'm all for feeling, and you feel a lot in it. It's a tobacco and ash, also from South America. Yeah, that's where they are all mostly originated from. And it goes up your nose, right into your brain. Yeah.
Shoot it right up there.
So it cleanses you. There's so many sensations you may feel. You may feel this burning or heat or shaking, or you'll cry. And it's making it sound horrible. However, it cleanses everything and it really drops you in. And it can bring on a huge sense of grounding and presence and deeper connections. I often get a lot of drop-in messages where the guides or angels come in and it's just quick little inner knowings. And for me, I like the groundedness aspect of it because both of us tend to be living more in the clouds a little bit. So we've seen a lot of people get many benefits from it. And we do it in the beginning on the first night of our plant medicine ceremonies as a way to cleanse and get the body ready for more experiences.
Yeah, people usually love cacao. Everybody loves cacao. And people usually love Hape or they hate Hape. There's like no in between. I'm kind of in between. But it's generally they like it or they don't like it. There's people who get up and they're like, woo, that was amazing.
I've only seen one person do that.
And there's people who are like, that was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life, so it's the polarity between the two. We've seen both, but it all depends on what calls to you, right? And maybe all plant medicines really call to you. And it doesn't have to either, like myself included. My guides frequently tell me I don't do Hape. I don't do plant medicine a lot, to be quite honest. My guides tell me no. So listening to what's right for you. I've done it, but I'm at a point right now where I'll ask them, so they'll be like, nope, microdosing, nope, Hape, nope, don't need it, don't need it, don't need it. And it's the same message over and over again. But it's made such a pivotal impact in my life before when I did need it. So it's tuning into what's right for you. Maybe microdosing is what's aligning with you. Maybe it's not. Neither is right or wrong. It's just tuning into what your body and higher self is truly needing in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
When we go in June, I'll do a mushroom ceremony before our ceremony, our retreat weekend in June. And then I probably won't touch plant medicine again for a while, So it's tuning into what's right for you.
It's a really good point. So I don't do a lot of the big plant medicine experiences, maybe once or twice a year when we go in the retreats. I'm not one to do them on my own. And just because Lauren does one thing, it's important to listen to yourself versus what your friends are doing, right? My guides don't say that to me. And I have no interest in really going, all in and doing 3 grams on my own. Like, to me, that I'm not going to like that. Yeah. Or a hero's dose 5-6 grams, I would be gone for weeks. I don't think I ever want to experience that at this point in my life anyways, right? Just rolling with the punches. But for me, the microdosing has dropped into my life, and it's not something I have to do. And if I had to rely on it, then I would stop. But I'll do it here and there every few months, just as a way to tap in deeper to myself. And I love the awareness that it brings. Everything brings up my shit. I am an emotional roller coaster of a human, but it makes me feel connected. And I feel that it's helped me to just connect dots. And it's not something I rely on, and I'm not doing it now. But when the time comes again, if it feels good, I totally will. And cacao, I like to drink, I don't do it every day. I've gone through phases where I just wanted it every day. Right now, I do it more when we have the plant medicine ceremonies and Hape. I'll do once or twice a week because I really love it. But it's everyone's got their own thing.
Yeah. So it's doing what calls to you and what's aligned with you, and depending on how much work you have to do and all of those things, tune into that. And that alone, then tune into that with everything in life, right? Not just plant medicine.
That's a good
Not
point.
Just like, this is asking your body what it needs, asking and connecting with your guides, your intuition. Your intuition is the space between thoughts, tuning into that space and aligning with it in every aspect of your life. It's so important.
Mm-hmm. Listening to what you need, not what you want.
Exactly.
And that's a hard thing to distinguish. But it's practice in its time. And if you've listened to this whole podcast so far, likely plant medicine is calling to you.
Exactly.
So I would take that as a sign. But just to kind of summarize and wrap up, plant medicine is a tool.
It's awesome.
It's freaking awesome. An awesome tool.
Right.
It's something that will shift your life tenfold, but you have to do the work. It's not going to do the work for you. So just as you step into the space and you're thinking about going, ask yourself if that feels aligned to you, if you really want to see the shifts.
Exactly. And really come to the idea that it's really important I think it's very important and impactful to come together in ceremony with people in these spaces, because you can create so much, you can manifest so much, you can clear so much with intention. And when they're in groups of people sharing intention, it makes it more potent, more powerful, and bigger shit comes up and clears through, and bigger changes and bigger impacts when coming together as a group in celebration, in ceremony, in connection of energy.
There is nothing I love more than being in a group and on a retreat.
Yeah.
It's just where my best self comes out. And it's just so amazing to have those experiences to share with other people.
Exactly.
Because other people too, we aren't meant to do this alone.
Mm-hmm.
To be vulnerable and share and to open up and connect. And when we shut ourselves off and try to do it all alone, that's where a lot of pain and suffering comes in. So being willing to ask for help and just coming to these groups to see what ignites in you that's meant to be healed. There's always a common connection. And that's what really lights me up.
There we go. So if you have any questions in all of this stuff, reach out to us. We have our plant medicine retreat. We'll be doing Hape, cacao, psilocybin, this isn't a plant medicine, but we'll be doing a conscious awakening breathwork journey, which is
You just have to
it's an altered state of consciousness as well. And having a freaking ton of fun.
It's going to be the best.
Yeah.
So thank you guys for listening. Let us know if you have any questions at all, and we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening. For more information on our classes, events, and retreats, check out our website at yogilawrence.com, linked in the show notes. We love to hear how you are making your own unique wave in the ocean. Connect with us on Instagram at Yogi Lawrence. See you next time.